The youth in Hollywood are revealing their sexuality in a very nonchalant way through social media. There were two instances recently that I want to talk about and just kind of discuss and kind of figure out whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, okay? So Disney's Girl Meets World actress, Rowan Blanchard, who is just 14 years old, came out as queer on Twitter on Saturday, just a week before 17-year-old Hunger Games actress Amanda Stenberg came out as bisexual on Snapchat. So I just want to give you the tweets to give you the examples. And honestly, I think this is overall a good thing because I don't think that we have more people with alternative sexualities. I think that now people feel more comfortable discussing their sexuality in a public forum, and overall that is a good thing. So let's take a look at the tweets. So Rowan Blanchard responded to bisexual Riley Matthews, 2016. And Rowan says...
and Riley Matthews is her character on the show. So
yes.
basically this person's tweeting like, I'd love to see a bisexual
yes.
Riley Matthews in this year.
Would really be here for this. If not Riley, it's very important to me. Being queer. So there it is. Those two words right there, being queer, that there is representation on our show. So it's super nonchalant. It's in the middle of a tweet. It's like, yeah, I'm queer. By the way, like people were very supportive of her, but understandably, some people were like, well, what does that mean? And it becomes a teachable moment. Where she can freely say, being queer to me just means not putting a label on my sexuality, just existing. And then there was further clarification to say that, you know, she's open to men, women, anyone that she is attracted to personality-wise.
Yeah, she basically said, I'm not putting myself in a sexuality box.
Yeah.
For the future. It's an ongoing thing. I mean, personally for me, I love to see young people rejecting traditional restrictive labels and embracing the sexuality spectrum. I know, and that is more confusing for everyone, but I also think it's more liberating. And when I say confusing, it just means that people want to align everyone in these like black and white, very neat sexual paradigms that we're used to. And the bottom line is that sexuality is very complex.
Super complex.
It's really, I think it's so refreshing to see young people, especially young people like herself that have a platform, speaking openly about what it means to be queer to them, which ultimately to her is like, I don't have to define myself, you know? And she's really such a smart, interesting girl. Young woman, and I've loved every story that comes out about her. I really enjoy because I feel like she's putting positive vibes out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about the number of fans who can identify with that sexuality and feel more comfortable about themselves because you have someone who is not only a public figure, but someone who's fearlessly talking about their sexuality.
And associated with Disney.
Yes.
Right? Because Disney's such a, you know, they're known for being really traditional, of course, in their values.
Squeaky clean.
Squeaky clean and sort of like keeping their talent in these like squeaky clean little boxes. And we saw how that turned out, Miley Cyrus. Okay.
Right.
You try to like hold someone back and then you're going to get tongue wagging, twerking, like, you know, all of the things that
she's a modern day Catholic schoolgirl when you really think about it, right?
You get the wondrous explosion of you know, sexuality and all the rest of it that is Miley Cyrus. And you know, I think now that there are these ways that you can communicate and be open and it's more accepted, it's just so cool. Like young people are growing up with such a different atmosphere than you and I had. You know,
oh, absolutely.
And then of course, then our parents. I mean, our parents are looking around and they're like, I don't even know what these words mean.
It's incredible because when I read stories like this, of course it makes you reflect on when you were the same age as them. So when I was 14, I mean, having a conversation about being attracted to the opposite sex wasn't even allowed, you know, with my family. Like super conservative, you're not allowed to even think about boys until you're 18, maybe 21. And so the notion of me going on social media and just announcing to the world that I'm queer back in, you know, the 90s or early 2000s when I grew up, I mean, my parents' head would explode, right? But I feel like if we were to grow up now, my parents would adapt to society. They have adapted to society quite a bit, you know, and this is all good news. I love it.
No, I think it's great, and I also think that it's a byproduct of not just she's, you know, on television, she's on a show on Disney, but there's this really rich, wonderful community of internet personalities that a lot of them, have made their way on YouTube, and that includes someone I've worked with very closely, Tyler Oakley, or Troye Sivan, or Hannah Hart, and they are putting out these messages where, do you be who you are? Like, there is this multiplicity of sexuality, and that it is totally accepted in this team internet space.
Yeah.
And it's so, I am so excited to see that it's taken hold with young people, because when you see the people they're interested in watching and listening to are these, internet stars, and it's not traditional media.
Yeah.
And that's the message they're getting.
Yes.
And that's the message that continues to be sort of percolated, I think, in social media because of that, because that's where they live and they interact. And I think that's really we're gonna see so much of like the American, just social consciousness change because of it.
Yeah, we've already seen so much of it change.
Right, and that's why, like, Republicans or anyone who refuses to see the tidal wave coming, which is it's already happening. They're so out of touch, it's unbelievable.
Absolutely, and I love it. I love that they're out of touch. Let them be out of touch, because they'll continue losing as the country progresses on these social issues.